It's a new kind of school bell. It's very subtle and works in the etheric field. I use this often to check chakras with. And when you run it up and down, it sort of just goes clack when it's not open or the chakra is less free. It makes like a different sound. So it's really interesting to work with. It's an amazing little ball. It's good to see you, everybody. So glad to be back. Missed you. It seems like forever since we were here. I see you. That's good. So, here we are on Labor Day at the beginning of another group of work, which is always good to kind of stop and start sometimes so you can recommit to yourself, to decide like how to take care of yourself better. In all of my group classes, I've been teaching in meditation and a women's circle, and in my private work, we keep talking about how can you better take care of yourself during these very extremely stressful times. And this is one way, right? All of the ways that you know of eating well, using exercise, walking, all of the things, and staying kind of positive in your heart, meditating, are all ways of working with yourself so that you stay in flow with you no matter what the outer conditions are, right? And that's what meditation teaches and yoga, but what meditation teaches particularly, because even our thoughts, the things we're thinking in our mind, are looked at as outer circumstances. Can you see that? So obviously the world is outer circumstances. Other people, events in the life are outer circumstances. But have you ever thought of your own thoughts as outer circumstances? Because they're reactive, right? They are believing, and it's in the egoic mind, the self that thinks, right? And within that, beyond that, inside of that is the soul. And the soul is in meditation deep, always and always and always and always. And when we meditate, we can hook up and get reconnected to that greater knowing of our infinite nature that has been here and done this before. And so we can remember who we are. So what a gift, right? That all is. As a way, some way, you can manage yourself while all of this is occurring in the world. So today, we'll start in a meditation. So make yourself comfortable. You can lean against a wall or sit on a chair or sit on your couch. We might use a chair today, often we do, and it's good to have one with you just in case, and a block and a strap. But today we're going to kind of come in slowly and gradually and recheck in and see how we are, what's going on. And so the first thing I want you to do is, in your mind's eye, as you close your eyes, is light that inner candle. And that is you saying, as you light that candle, you're saying, I am the soul. And you remember that greater consciousness. And for right now, our thoughts, which are myriad and ever constant, because that is the nature of the brain, it offers thought, right? But almost like you're talking about some outer situation, just allow the thoughts to pass by like you're watching a parade. And they're just going by. And you can say, ooh, or ah, like you do for fireworks when they go off. Like, that's a really big one, or that's a really beautiful one, or that's a really red one. But you're not the firework. You're just observing the fireworks. You're observing. And so from this place of deepening awareness and the gradual awakening of the soul that comes when we meditate, layer by layer by layer by layer. You begin to come home into yourself again. And it may have been a while since you last meditated. And it might have been this morning. But it might have been last time we met. And no worries, because energetically meditation picks up where we last left off. So that's profound. So every time we meditate, that is one of those beads on the string of meaningful, awake, conscious moments. And so we can come right from that last place that we sat in stillness to this new one now. And the first thing you do is you start to check in, because we haven't met for a while now. It's been a month. And you're checking in and seeing, how am I today? How am I? Really? How's my body? What's hurting? What feels good? How's my energy? How do my organs feel? Everything, just checking in physically with your physical body. How's your jaw right now? Is it relaxed or tense? How are your shoulders? Like really checking in. What's going on? How are you physically? And if you have a sore knee or a headache or you're tired, please take that into the yoga, into this meditation. Remember to be sensitive to yourself and to acknowledge that if that is so, then I will take care of myself. Throughout this yoga, this meditation, and my life, I will consider the varying circumstances of my moment. And so, how are you physically today? What's your tension level? What's your stress level? And as we go in deeper, then ask, how's your breath? Because the breath is the bridge. The breath is the bridge between the soul and the self. And so your breath tells you so much about what's going on, really, if you're holding it or if you're breathing deeply. And if you're breathing all the way up into your head and all the way down to your tailbone, or just a little bandwidth across the chest. How can you deepen and expand your breath as you let your breath heal your body? And then emotionally, how are you? It's good to ask. And listen to your answer. How are you in your heart? Are you feeling strong and brave and full of life? Are you feeling discouraged or sad, tired? Emotionally, we're talking now. And just check in. And then take your breath into the emotional body and enliven it and open it like you're opening up a package that you're excited to see what's in it. Not dreading it, excited to see what's in it. Because it's you, and there's this whole, I want to say, toy chest of things in there, you know, that you're playing with these days. And it's full to the brim of things, and they represent subjects in your life. And you breathe into that. You breathe into that energy of all those feelings, about all those subjects. And as you do, you start to feel this definite sense of inner spaciousness. There's space. And in that space, there's you. And in that you, there is presence. And then you breathe into that presence. That is you, your essence. And now in that space you check into that mind body, the mental body. What is the state of your mental body? Stressed, calm, closed, open. Whatever it is, no judgment, just another firework that's going up. And this one's blue. So beautiful. And then you breathe into the space of that mind. And you feel that expansion of mind as it detaches from fears and worries and anxieties. You just cut them loose like little strings and you start to float and feel free, mentally free, emotionally free, physically free. Right? Freer. And then that whole collected self, then you start to breathe into the whole thing of you. Becoming aware of the presence of your own self that is not reacting to circumstances, that is not reacting to the world, that is not reactive to even our own thoughts. Space. Feel the experience of space in yourself. And unlock the tension across your eyes, across your forehead, across your whole head, that the plates of your head feel relaxed, that the plates of the shoulder blades feel relaxed, that the ribs feel separate and part of and connected, that the spine is lifting effortlessly upward, and that there's all this room in your body to be present to and present within. And so who is looking out is that dimensional consciousness that is who you are. But for right now, it's reflective. And just keep releasing tensions, physical ones, mental ones, emotional ones. And give yourself a real breather, right? A break from all this noise of the world and even the noise of our own thinking. That you step within that, into the heart of you, and feel for a moment the love of the soul. And organize yourself to this. This is who you are. This is who I am. Om. This is who I am. Om. Good, and when you're ready to. Letting your breath get deeper and fuller until it starts to feel natural to transition out of this meditation. Good. So, good. Isn't it amazing? Just taking 5 minutes. Pull in. The connection that you feel almost instantly because you've meditated before, because you're connecting the dots of the last time that there was this much awareness to this time that there's this much awareness. It stacks up. It gets denser. It gets more complete. It starts to fill up the life with consciousness, with awareness. So, good work. I felt you do that. So, today, what I'm going to ask of you, because I want to kind of ease back in and to see how you're doing and for you to see how you're doing, I want you to promise that you will go in the flow of yourself, right? So if something feels too much, I really want you, encourage you to listen to yourself about that. It probably is today too much, but it doesn't mean it will be tomorrow. So be sure as we're moving along that if something feels like it needs to be different or skipped entirely, then do that so that you can start to even better listen to yourself. One of the great advantages of these Zoom yoga sessions is that there's not that pressure of the group to keep up with or perform to, or somebody amazing in front of you and you're feeling not amazing that day and you're feeling this kind of pressure to do more. You get to completely do this at your own pace, and I really want you to do that in a way that is so on purpose. Like that's the joy of this particular yoga, and especially today as we come back in. So we're going to start with a blanket. So I'm going to go back to my mat and get your blanket if you have one. If you don't have a blanket, you can use a towel, a thick one though, as thick one as you can have, like a beach towel or something thicker, and you'll roll it up. We're going to use it to lay over. Okay, so here we go. So when you get your blanket, I always laugh about, blanket folding 101. You want your blanket to be pretty neat, because when it's neatly folded, when you use it as the prop that we'll use it for in various things, it will be equal and you won't be like higher on one side and lower on the other. So I like to get my blanket into this shape ultimately, and rather than roll it this way, I like to roll it this way. Now the reason I do that is because I like a higher blanket. So if you don't like a higher blanket, you'll use it this way, right? And you roll it up a little bit, boom, boom, boom. And you might not roll it up more than that. Like if you're very tight in your upper back, just make a little tiny lift, see? So it's not too much. And it can be less. It can be just like one layer deep. And that can be enough for some people, especially if you tend to have a spine that does this, right? This would be an extreme stretch for your upper back. And so depending on your spine and your tightness today, right, that too, you have to remember. So I'm going to roll it because I like it a little bit higher. So I like it in the short way. And then I wrap it really tightly, kind of curling it into itself, like that. So I've got a very tight little thing. I could even use another one of these if I want to be higher still. And just so some of you that like a deeper stretch, you can use your block. That's a much deeper stretch, but I am thinking let's kind of ease into this. So just place it down, and that's going to be for your upper back. So what you do is you just put the chest line right on the apex of the blanket, and then your knees can be bent like this, and especially if you have lower back issues, do keep your knees bent. If you don't have back issues, you can have your legs straight, but you'll just see which feels right. And then the arms maybe are going to come up and over. Now here's where a lot of change can happen, where this is a much bigger stretch, for instance, than having your arms by your sides like this, right? So if this is too much, then I'm going to have them here. So feel free to change that if you need to. And I like them back personally. And if you like even more stretch, just hold your elbows, and that will give you an even bigger stretch in the upper back. So just gradually now, just breathing into your upper back spine, trying to get your breath all the way up into your shoulders, into your neck. The closer you hold your palm on the elbow point, the more tension there will be in this. So in the end, that's where your hand lands, elbow on palm center, right? If I'm tighter, I can let there be more slack in this. But remember, we're aiming towards that eventually, where the palm is at the center of the elbow point, and then that draws back, and that increases the stretch, which you may not want that increased stretch. So you have to sort of feel how much stretch do you want. And remember, you can also use your arms just by your sides like this. And if there's lower back pain, keep your knees slightly bent like this, right? And sometimes I work this pose with my legs crossed. I do all kinds of things, or in butterfly. But we're starting kind of easy today, just simple, with either your legs bent or straight and your arms by your sides or over, and you're breathing. And right away you're getting so much information about your back, because how long has it been since you've done this stretch? And this is the pose I always say, if you could only remember one yoga pose, besides breathing, pranayama, then this is the next one to remember. Because this pose is the antidote to postural problems and oxygenation of the brain and of the spine. And so it's really, really valuable to correct posture and to kind of unwind your spine from sitting. We sit a lot in these days, I think, more than ever. So really take 3 more big breaths now. And if you haven't been breathing deeply, you're the whole time, in theory, you're breathing through your nose, inhaling and exhaling if you can, through the nose, and just letting the spine slowly, slowly, slowly unwind. When you take those deep breaths, it can be painful, and so that's information too. And just see what's up. After you've taken those 3 more breaths, bend your knee and just bring your arms back, and just bring them back onto your belly, so you just relax for a minute. And then turn on your side, because what we're going to do is we're going to pull that blanket out now, put it next to you, and then lie back on the ground, which will feel good. And just see how your back feels from what we just did, right? So already the body has changed from just one simple movement. And then I want you to turn on your side, come up, and sit, and feel as you're sitting again. See how already a difference, right? The shoulders already have changed just from doing one movement only, right? I love to notice things like that, to see, so if I'm feeling like thick in my upper back, that pose really opens it up, and it kind of gives you a feeling of freedom in your spine. Now take your blanket, if you use one, or your block, and we're going to sit on it, and mine's too high here, so I'm going to make it a little lower, but different people are different heights, right? So we've talked about that a lot, about how high of a blanket to use, if any, right? You don't need to use a blanket, but you may find it helpful, especially if you're tighter in your hips like this, right? You definitely want to be using a blanket, or even a block and a blanket, right? I used to do that. And eventually, that will open, but it's gradual, because hips open the slowest of anything in your body. Take your arms up, inhale, and really stretch up. And open up the chest, bend your elbows. And just let the thumbs come towards the mid-spine. Keep your elbows tight to the body, tight to your ears in a way, and then pull it up, inhale. Stretch, and the elbows, try to straighten in this. They might not be able to. They might kind of end up like this, and that's fine, but if you can, it's way up like a rocket you want to be. And then take your arms out to the sides, drop the shoulders, inhale, and exhale, turn to the left, and just make that rotation. Opening up, and now still, get the breath up. How do you get the breath more into your shoulders, into your neck? Of course, the breath is abdominal as well, so you inhale, the belly expands, you exhale, the belly relaxes, but really it's the whole torso expands, inhales, the whole torso relaxes as you exhale, so the whole thing is opening. Every time you take a breath, inhale, take your arms up, all the way, palms touch, bend. Elbows behind you, opening up the upper back. We're just starting to open up the upper back spine a little bit. Inhale, up, stretch, maybe straight, out, and to the opposite side, turning, and use your hands on the ground or on your blanket to pick up your back and breathe. Shoulders are back and breathing. Now you're trying to get the breath. Inhale, the belly expands. Inhale, the chest expands. Right? Exhale, the belly and chest relax, but thinking abdominally because that's where the breath doesn't necessarily go, and you really want to wake up the colon and the lumbar spine, the lower back, right? That whole lower area can get really sleepy, sloggy down there. Good. And then back up, inhale, stretch up. Good. And release, exhale. Take your blanket, and you're going to make your little tube again. Put it back. Like where it was. And here we go. Back to the upper back. So we're coming back, same pose. I'm right under the chest line, flying straight line back, the apex of the highest point of the blanket. And one more time. Taking the arms back, opening up the chest, breathing into it. Really open up your upper back. Let your legs relax completely or bend them. And just let gravity be your friend here as you open up and allow the upper back spine to melt over and around this blanket hump so that your upper spine is starting to get a little bit more blood flow in a way it hasn't gotten, for a while. Let it relax, open, and take those deep breaths through your nose to unlock the scapula, the rhomboids, all the big muscles of the upper back. And chin is a little bit tucked under so the neck stays long. 3 more breaths. Big breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting your upper back open with every time you exhale. It stretches a little more. And when you're done with those 3 breaths, bend your knee again. And then the other, and then turn on your side, come up, sit up, find your blanket again, sit back on it. And so again, sitting cross-legged on our blanket. So whatever you do when we sit down again, and now you can already feel like a lot of blood flow in your upper back again, right? Whatever your legs crossed right now, I bet it went the same way. So let's change the cross. So hopefully we're on the other side now. Of whatever you naturally are inclined to do, because remember, our body gets in these habits and the easier way is our preferred way, right? So usually if we just don't think about it, it'll go to the same direction that it normally does, just out of habit and out of comfort and avoidance of the tension that is there, etc. So, and I'll just give you a little exercise to sort of show you how that works. We've done this before, but see if you can feel this. So you're going to pray, so you bring your hands all together. And then you can see, you've got, in my case, I've got my right thumb on the top, right? So that's what my hands like to do. When I go like this, that's what they do. And then we're going to reverse it. So you're going to take the other thumb on top, and all the fingers are going to switch. And then, so now you're reversed, right? And you can feel, this isn't the way we do this, right? We do it the other way. And if we were putting weight on this, like in a headstand, this would be so bizarre feeling, because our comfort zone is in the place we know how to manage all the bones that go all the way up to the neck from the place we're used to it. And when we switch it and we add weight to it, it's a whole different pose actually. And it's really good to change it up like that. So just in the same way that we're doing with our legs crossed now, we're trying to make sure that we go both directions. So ready, inhale, stretch up. Arms up, elbows extend, and bend, exhale. Elbows are close to the head, and you're really lifting up, and inhale up and out, and lift the spine, and even though the arms have come down, the body's not come down. Everything's still lifting, and turn to the left again. Use your hand behind you to really lift your spine, And let your neck turn to and follow. Sometimes I teach this with the nose over the navel, right? And there's a reason for that, and often that's a good practice to get aware of, is nose, sternum, navel, all in one line. Sometimes I let the neck move because I just want the neck stretch, right? And I think we all need neck stretching right now, so that's why I'm working on this. Good, inhale, come up. Arms come up, elbows are straight. Even though my arms are coming up, look at my neck right now. Be careful that your shoulders aren't squeezing your carotid artery off, right? So you just pull, right? Even though the arms are up, the scapula are going down, and then the arms are going back, palms together, and bend. And then the thumbs touch back onto the upper back. The elbows are tight to the head. Inhale up. Exhale. Shoulders down, big breath, inhale. Keep lifting the spine, and exhale to the opposite side. Shoulders back, breathing all up and down like your whole body's an egg. And you're trying to fill the whole from your tailbone to your head with breath. You're trying to bring that breath into every part of your lower back, the belly, the back of your thoracic spine, the front of your chest, across the shoulders, the front of your throat. Really fill the breath into the whole body egg of the torso body. Good. And then back up, inhale, stretch up. And let's just try one forward bend and just see what's going on with this. Because it might have been a while since you did a plain old forward bend like this. And just feel how your legs are already, your information, your knees might be hurting, or your back, or your feet, you know, whatever it is. Just be easy with it and then roll back up. We're going to come back to that later. Stretching up straight from here. Hands on your knees. And we're just going to stay here another breath. We're going to do cat stretches seated. Elbows are completely extending. Shoulders are down. Careful not to be up, right? You're dropping the shoulders. The elbows are totally straight. They're not bent. I'm really kind of rigid in my arms. And we're going to do cat stretch. From the side, what that'll look like is that the body, as it inhales, the chest is lifting up. But when we exhale, you don't want to go backward, right? I want to stay over my spine. So I'm inhale and arching, the chest lifts up, throat's open, but I'm not just cutting my head back, right? I'm just lifting the chin, and then exhale, keep your spine long, and the stomach goes in a little bit, elbows are still straight, chin tucks a little bit. Inhale, arch. So we're waking up, shoulder blades back, really squeezing back like you're doing cobra pose, right? Exhale, stomach sucks in, shoulders are still pulled back even though you're rounding right now. Inhale, back to center, relax, just feel how you feel. Take a breath. Now what's going on? Now just from here in a simple way, let your head turn all the way to the left. So you're just turning all the way to the side. And as you do, you're lifting. So try not to squish your neck to the turn. Lift the neck, rotate as keeping space between all those vertebrae, so that you're not collapsing in the upper back or the neck, right? And then you come back to the middle. Just simple movement, up first, and then to the opposite side. Shoulders are pinned back. I don't have to go farther and farther. It's just whatever it goes, right? I'm just reminding my body, yeah, I can turn my neck. And I can turn it this far today, and then back. And then back to the center, and just feel that, just that one little thing, how it already has changed things then from here. Arms up, inhale. And we're going to go one arm crosses. Let's go, let's see, this would be my right arm. So my right arm goes up and over like a helicopter. Elbow, elbow, flip, flip. Eagle pose arms. So eagle pose arms, the nose and the thumb line up. The shoulders are getting a great big stretch now. Close your eyes, breathe into it. Just keep your shoulder, even though your shoulders are curled forward like this, keep your spine up so you're not rounding to do this. You're really lifting the spine. Good. And then inhale. Open, stretch out, arch, really stretch. And then left arm over, so the other way, over, around, wrap. Right? And then you're curled, curled, curled. Keep your spine up. Shoulders are pinned back, even though they're sort of forward from the stretch. You're still thinking about opening up the shoulder girdle. Breathing. Breathing wherever you are. And inhale, open. Arch, really open the spine. This is very much like the prow of a ship. Exhale to prayer. Back to center. Good. Now, we're going to lay back on our back. So I'm going to take the blanket, have it around, but I'm not going to use it right this minute. And we're going to lie back. And what you're going to do, actually I'll show it seated and you go ahead and lay down. But we're going to do W, and we haven't done W in a long time, so I'm doing it in an easier way. But I want you to see the angles. It's like this, choo, 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 like Charlie Brown's shirt, you know? So it's not here, that's different. That's a goalpost kind of position, right? The elbows are lower and the arms are back and open. So I don't want the thumbs towards my ears. I want them away from my ears. Do you see the angle like that, right? Like a W. And I call this W. And so we're doing that on our back though. So on your back, the elbows are lower, hands are up, and at first it'll look like that for a lot of you because of the tightness in the shoulder blades. As you get more flexible, the whole forearm will lay down. And in addition, watch my elbow and my wrist. At the beginning, if I'm a little bit tight, it's going to look like this. Do you see the gap under the wrist, right? And that's fine. But someday that lies down too. My elbows are going down, my hands are out to the sides a little bit, and I'm just thinking about pressing my wrist down, and I'm getting a stretch right now, just doing this, just this simple little movement, right? The flatter my arm is on the ground, the more of a stretch I'm getting. As this pops up, or the whole thing pops up, right? That means my upper back and shoulders are a little bit tight. So I just notice that. And breathe. This is a much easier way of doing W than seated. And I'm also not letting my rib cage pop up. So watch where my fingers are here. And I'm going to inhale and watch what happens. Exhale. I'm dropping, right? That rib cage is popping up because my shoulders are tight. And I'm trying to keep that and still, gently, don't force this, because it's a big stretch actually. That mid-back and at the base of the ribs really is flat on the ground. One more breath there. Big deep breath. Good. And then relax. Arms up. And behind you, and you stretch your arms. Now there's no blanket underneath of you, so this should feel pretty easy. So now, because we're not using a blanket under our upper back, we might be able to go back a little further than normal because we're starting to open this up. And breathing here, a couple of breaths. Good, and that's good. And then bring your knees into your chest, pull them in. Now as you're here, just rocking on your lower back. Tuck your chin under if it's not. And let's do a simple twist, because we're just starting to kind of open up the spine, right? And remember the thing I've taught for years, which is you're as young as your spine is. And that is an ancient Indian concept in the old teachings of yoga. You're as young as your spine is. So we're trying to get back our spine, to get it woken up again. Inhale, the arms out to the sides. And exhale, your knees to the left, just letting them come over gently. Whatever happens with this shoulder, let it. It doesn't matter if it's down anymore, especially today. We're not working on trying to get that down. I am thinking about breathing in that egg of my upper body again, so that the breath inhale, my chest, my belly expands, and as I exhale, it relaxes, and I'm just starting to unlock the lumbar spine and now the thoracic spine. It's really good, and the deeper you breathe, the more you'll get out of this. Inhale back up, keep your knees together if possible, and on the opposite side. So what happens as you go is that arm can kind of come with you, right? And that's okay, because that just means that upper back's a little bound in the shoulder, and someday it lies down. So it's just going to depend on your flexibility, and you're going to just let it be. You ones that are having pain because your shoulder's up like this, you can also just put your hand on your chest or on your belly, and that will take much of the tension off of that shoulder. Obviously, as the arm extends, there's more of a lever now, and so the tension can be felt a lot more. The good thing about this is you start to feel where that tension is for you. Could be in the elbow, Could be in the wrist, could be very likely in your shoulder. That's the most common place for it to be. And then come back up, knees to chest again, pull it in. Tuck your chin if it's not. Cross your ankles and roll up. Sit up, turn back around, find your blanket again. We're just playing around, kind of warming things up, waking up the spine. This really is probably the name of this class, is waking up the spine from like Rip Van Winkle, you know? It's been sleeping for a while, and we're saying, now how are you, spine, at all those 33 vertebrae usually. I say that because people have different amounts of vertebrae, believe it or not, interestingly. And just seeing how it feels now. You're probably on your first side of your cross because you just landed into it naturally, and that's just where I want you to be. So inhale the arms out again, and this time we're going to bring your forearms together. So this pose looks easy, but it's not. And what you're trying to do is bring your palms together, of course, but what the hard part is getting your elbows together too. And so a lot of times you just can't, right? It'll just like no way, right? But if you can, I want you to get your elbows touching and staying touched, so there's no gap at all. You're squeezing like you're holding a quarter between your elbows, and your spine's going up though, and then you're going to maybe take your elbows up a little bit. But if they come apart, then you shouldn't. You're going to be right where you keep your elbows touching, and then go up a little bit if they will. Keep breathing and opening up under the arm. It's a big stretch actually, and then come back down. Good, and release, and let them down, and shoulders back, spine up. W seated. So we did a little bit of this. So you want to be equal. Notice where my arms like see how one arm is here and one arm is there, right? So I want it to be equal visually. So I really am that nice open angled W. And the work of this pose, if you see it from the side, what will happen is that the elbows come forward, right? So what happens in the beginning is that the hands will often be in front of the body, but what we're trying to do is get the elbows forward and your arms back, and you'll feel that extremely when you do that. So that is a very different pose than from here to here. But what I'm levering on is on my elbow point, as I'm trying to think of that elbow going forward and my forearms going back, and you'll feel the scapula, stay in your pose, the scapula, when you do this properly, goes like this, right behind you. The scapula open like butterfly wings. So the bottom of the scapula come together, and the top of the scapula goes apart, right? That's what W does. Bring it down, rest. And just stay with me for a minute, because the opposite is also true. If you have round shoulders like this, it's the exact same thing. The scapula is going this way, right? It's folding in, it's close together at the top and wide at the bottom. That creates round shoulders. So when you go this way, right, which is what W teaches, you're pulling the scapula and spreading the rhomboids apart so that, and the bottom of the scapula come together, which gives that wide chest feeling. Ready? One more time with W. So you've got that nice line going, elbows forward, right? Forearms back. It hurts. This one hurts, and you're just breathing, and you're careful not to be and you're stuck in your neck and your throat and shoulders. I'm all strangled off here. I've got to keep my shoulders down, my elbows going forward, my forearms going back, and I'm feeling this a lot. And all I have to do now is just breathe into whatever of this I can get to comfortably, and you'll feel a lot of tension, usually closeness, structural boundedness inside the upper back spine in this, and it's meant to be like that, so that means you're doing it right. Good. And then from there you're going to go straight out. Keep your shoulders down, don't let your shoulders pop up, right? Shoulders down, and ready, and then back again. Elbows, 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 elbows forward, elbows forward. You see what that is? And so that's where it gets super intense. Ready? Out. Keep your shoulders down, don't let them ride with. Right, so the shoulders stay down and the arms are straightening and trying to go behind you. Ready? And inhale. And then exhale. One more time, elbows behind you. Don't over move. Try to track with your breath, with your body. So you're not trying to force this to happen, because you'll just pull a muscle. So don't over move. Just track with it. Elbows forward. Good. And rest. See? Take a breath. See how big that all is? That's just opening up this little part of the spine, which is a lot of vertebrae. There's 12 thoracic vertebrae, 7 cervical vertebrae, 7 lumbar vertebrae, and then the fused vertebrae of the sacrum. So all those vertebrae need to come awake. So we're going to, one more time now, cross your legs the other way. So it's the way you don't like, probably. It's the uncomfortable way. It's the reverse of the fingers, right? So our hands come onto our knees again, and here we go, shoulders down, shoulders back, right? Like I'm slotting them into the back of the joint. I'm not letting them come forward, right? I'm keeping them in the back of the joint, and then here comes the breath. Inhale, arch the spine, cat stretch, seated. Exhale, round the spine, the stomach pulls in, tuck your chin. Inhale. Opening, try not to cut your head back. It's really important to keep your head level. Exhale. Following the spine, not making the spine. Inhale. Arch. Good. Shoulders back. Exhale. You're going to have more energy today just from doing this small little thing. And while you've got a side view going here, watch this. The thing you don't want is inhale. This part we're going to do well because just in arching, the spine almost does come forward. But when we exhale, the body tends to fall back in the round curve. And I want you to not fall back. You stay right up. You inhale, the spine lifts up. And when you round, exhale, it's just the stomach muscles pushing back, but I'm not falling backward. My spine is straight as I'm sucking the spine in. Inhale, arch, 2 more. Exhale, my spine stays straight, my height stays the same. That's really important to not lose your height. Inhale, arch. Don't lose your height when you round. Here we obviously have it, but here's the hard part. Exhale, don't lose your height. Even though the chin's tucked under, I'm not dropping, right? Good, and back to center again. Nice, that was really good, really good. Okay, so now take your legs open into a butterfly pose and just see what's going on there. I haven't done this in a while either, so I'm like, you know. So you'll feel it. And just let the feet come together, butterfly. And still the spine is straight. The hardest part of this pose to me is not your hips and your joints here, which obviously you're feeling, is how do you keep your spine straight even though your legs are like this. So when you're in butterfly pose, the much more important part of the pose is spinal positioning. If the legs and hips are tight, it's really hard to get your back straight. In fact, you have to almost lean back to get your back straight, which is okay in the beginning, right? Because at least my back is straight. But it's very hard to come forward because it rounds a little bit because of the tightness in the hips. So it's better to do this, right? If your hips are tight. If your hips are more open, then you can kind of tip your pelvis forward and get straight with the spine. And still, though, the emphasis is how much can I get my back straight here. So I'm really feeling, I'm trying to open up the thighs. I'm letting myself rock a little bit in there. I'm just kind of seeing, you know, the give, if there can be any give today. We're not trying to get anywhere today. Today it is about just feeling where things are. Next time we'll go a little deeper, right? We'll start to get into the more of the bigger movements like dog pose and things like that to start to unwind even deeper. But right now I just want to unlock the big muscles around the upper back from holding our breath, from stress and tension. Just creates this kind of boxed in thickness, and you can see it as you go out into the world. You know, just there's such a boundedness in the front body. And you want to live like that, right? You're living open to it. Now my heart can hold it all. My heart can hold it all. And so there's this brave, Venus has just moved into Leo, kind of courage, right? To loving and opening into life, even though what we're looking at might not be beautiful at all. And still, right? We stay in that open position. When you're ready to, bring your legs back together. Squeeze your knees together, let your feet press down, stretch your toes apart just a little bit, and then take your hands behind you, slide off your blanket if you're on one, shoulders back, chest open. So all I'm doing right now, it's simple. My feet are together, my hands are behind me so I can keep my back straight, because even here there's a tendency to kind of slouch, right? So we're trying to go up and keep that up, and then you're going to go to the left, the legs drop over. So when I do that, you might kind of collapse again. I'm still trying to really keep the chest open. See how my feet are stacked perfectly, right? Inhale, come up. I'm keeping them stacked. I'm keeping my knees together. My chest is lifting the whole time. And then I let myself come over. And I'm really feeling that in this shoulder. Stretching long. Good. And then come back up. And just be gentle now. Inhale. Knees, legs crossed. One more time, forward bend. And you see how you are. So you forward bend over your legs and hips and see how they feel as you do. Let your neck relax completely. Roll up, inhale, change the cross of your legs last time, and fold. And just see how it goes. Sometimes I like to hold poses for a long time. And sometimes I like to hold poses short and just go moving, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm sort of going short holds and just keep moving because we're just trying to wake up the body. When the body is strong and moving well, then you start to do longer holds. Come back up, inhale. It's too much to do that right at the beginning, so it's good to just kind of keep that all in mind and just let your body relax for a moment, close your eyes, and just see how you feel right now. And how's your breath? And how can you get your breath all the way up into the clavicle, these bones that go across, all the way up? Get the breath up into your neck even. Relax your jaw. And feel the stillness of the moment. And let your throat relax, let your eyes relax, let your brow relax, let your lips relax, let the whole face be wide. That's so good. Really good. Okay, so now we're going to lie back down again. And I'm not going to use our blanket now. I'm going to do one more little thing though. So you'll need a block. So get your block. And have your legs bent. And you're going to take your block on the short side. So not up or this way, but the lowest way. Put it under the sacrum. This is a supported bridge pose. A really great way to practice bridge if you have injuries to your back, lumbar spine problems, tightness in the upper back, because your head is below your heart, so it gives you a lot of the benefit of that, of lowering blood pressure, etc. The pose, that's associated for lowering blood pressure if you happen to have high blood pressure is shoulder stand, right? Called the queen of all yoga poses. This is like a mini shoulder stand, if you think of it. So let's try it. Knees come in, and then here comes like a little bit more of a mini shoulder stand. We're not going all the way up, but we're getting a lot of the benefit because we're getting blood flow down, or our legs are inverted, which they never are inverted hardly, and you can keep your knees really straight if possible, and just letting your legs relax and letting your legs tip towards you. I don't want to come off the block though. I'm keeping my weight on the block. Legs are really straight. I'm just relaxing for a minute. Take a breath, and that opens up the shoulders even more. Can you feel that? Just from the weight on your shoulders feels good. And then bend your knees, bring them back, and then one leg at a time put them down and just let them be there again. And then stretch one leg out. Now, it can be fine to stay just like this with one leg out. If you like a deeper stretch, you can try two legs out. But don't do this if you have lower back pain, please. You really want to take care of your lower back, so it's safer to work one leg at a time in this. If you're really solid in your lower back, you can do both legs. And I'll just tell you when to switch. And I'm just letting everything go down towards the floor and relax. If you're doing one leg, change legs now. And I'm trying to relax now as much as I can with my one leg bent or my two legs straight. Just pick which feels right to you. If it starts to feel painful, listen to your body and switch back to one leg. This is a psoas stretch, really important pose. This is, if you think about it, bow pose, canoe pose, camel pose, right? Wheel pose. Stretches in the psoas, which is so hard to get to, and this isolates the psoas. So it's really important to open up those muscles, but sometimes they're so bound that it's much better at first to work them one at a time. This might be too much on your lower back. You'll know right away, because this just won't feel good at all. And then you'll just for sure do it on one leg, okay? And when you're ready to, bend one leg, if they're not, and then the other, and just settle for a second, get relaxed. Let your shoulders be really relaxed on the ground. And then take your block and just move it out from under and slowly lower the hips back down. Let them drop gradually. And then from there, stretch, either stay like this, and especially if you have some back pain at all, ever, just keep your knees bent. And if your back feels fine, then you stretch one leg out and then the other relaxed on the ground for final relaxation. So when you're ready to close your eyes, you can use an eye pillow. I have one here. If you have one, you just take it and put it lightly over your eyelids to just give you some sense of more silence and inner quiet. And start to let go of the body into the floor, relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your arms, relaxing your legs, relaxing your spine. The chin tucks under. And then just lift your arms about 6 inches off the ground, straight. Inhale. And exhale, drop them. You actually want to hit the ground with your arms a little bit, not just your hands though. Your whole arm lands. Inhale, the arms up a little bit. And exhale, drop them. That's a little ricochet up the arm all the way to the neck. That can really release your neck in an interesting way. The last time, inhale the arms up a little bit. Exhale, drop them. Let go. Quieter and quieter. Let yourself be. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders and upper back, all the way down to your hands, fingers, the joints of your fingers. Relax. The joints of your wrists. Relax. Inhale, the belly expands. Exhale, the belly relaxes. As you go deeper and deeper, letting your tailbone relax. The backs of your knees relax. The glutes relax. Feel if you're holding the glutes at all, the gluteus maximus. See if you could relax those muscles equally so that both sides of the glutes are equally relaxed. And sometimes it's very sneaky, that tension can be hidden. And so really check, how can I relax the glutes more? Which of course relaxes the lower back. Inhale, the belly expands. Exhale, the belly relaxes. And feeling in this, you're breathing like this through the nose, that your whole body is expanding as you inhale, including the tops of your feet and the soles of your feet and the tops of your thighs. And as you exhale, the whole body descends into the ground, letting go. And as you inhale, the whole body, from your hair to your cheeks, to your belly, to your thighs, expands. And as you exhale, your whole body relaxes into the floor. Let go. Let that tension that's built up over the days or weeks completely release. So you feel completely at ease inside yourself. Be natural now. You can stay here for as long as you like. And if you're ready, just let your legs bend gently. And when you're ready, coming eventually to sit back up. Knowing you can stay down for a while longer if that feels better. And just sitting up if you are, or still lying there if you like. Just noticing how you feel. Now. And I'm still just almost still in that state of Savasana, even though I'm sitting up now. I'm feeling that spaciousness within me. And that presence that stands witness to all that is, even to my own thoughts. That stands present. Good. That was great. Thank you everyone for being part of this yoga class today. Hope this helped. I know it did. I can feel it. The energy unlocked a lot. And so we'll see you next week with a little more action maybe in there and see how you're doing with all of this. And I hope you have a great week. And don't forget to breathe deeply. And maybe the pose to take away is W. Just gently, right? Just gently, W. Just opening up that upper back. It's a really easy pose. Don't force it, but just allow just that little bit of movement makes a big difference. Thank you everyone. We'll see you next week.